Hello! It's been a while, again. Actually not that long, about 100 cycles. And I'm back with another oxygen not included video. Sorry for the long wait. That's mostly because I spent a lot of cycles just sitting and looking at what I can do. And let me just start with the obvious one. I have a lot of water now. This used to be way below. Actually, this used to be to the point where these pitcher pumps could not get any water anymore. And they're not hot water either. So what did I do? I simply went here and took all of the melted ice water. That's it. That's simply it. That's why there's so much of it. But excited to show you guys this. This is my Steam Turbine-Aquatuner setup that I've built. It's based off of someone's design, though. Actually, in the video that I watched, they said that it's the basic Aquatuner and steam turbine setup. So you know, the thing is, I only modified it to fit my needs, which is for consuming salt water, and it works like a charm. Look at that. The water that was usually 90 degrees when it came out, look at this, 90 degrees. It's slowly becoming 34 to 20 degrees. Eventually it goes into my base. So yeah, if you want to watch that person's tutorial for the Steam Turbine-Aquatuner setup, I'll link it in the description. It is a really helpful one. And my design is basically just a modified version of it. Also, why is there water here? What the heck happened here? Is this supposed to be oil? Well, that... oh well, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, this is the big thing that I've been working on. I spent like 20 cycles building this. I didn't want to do it on camera. Well, actually, I'll be honest. I tried to do it on camera, but the recording ended up being just 2 hours of me messing around and fucking up the build till I got it right. Well, until I searched about the video on how to build my own. I mean, as you can see from the previous one, I tried to make one on my own, but it didn't really work. Actually, I think I just used the Aquatuner in the previous one. I didn't use a steam turbine. And before I get into that, another one is here. I've tapped into this natural gas geyser as well. Now I have 2 natural gas geysers because if you look here, my tanks are nearly empty now. It's starting to fill back up. If I speed this up, you can see it's filling up really quickly. And as to why is because I now upgraded this to a 6 natural gas generator setup. And I don't know if I recorded this in the last one. I can't remember. But essentially I've connected these natural gas generators and the steam turbine generators. I've just decided to just hook them up to the main power system. I thought that it wasn't really necessary to separate systems now. Well, at least not yet, maybe later. The benefit of separating your power grid into the different generator and battery systems is because it's useful early game, but this is late game. It's not that useful to me anymore, but it might come useful late game. I'm still not quite there. So basically, just to summarize, this system is very complex. Well, the original person's design is already complex, but I made it a bit more complex. But basically, the gist of it is it's all automated. This salt water, or this desalinator, desalinates the salt water, puts it in this collection tank. These pumps separately go into their own Aquatuner setup, that cools the water down 14 degrees at a time. And this part here is meant, and this is from the original design. Basically the point here is that if the water is below the temperature that I set, which is 20 degrees, it'll skip the Aquatuner, it'll turn off the Aquatuner, skip it, and then go straight into my base. But if it doesn't, like say it goes in, and then it goes out, and it's still above 20 degrees, there's this second part that sorts it out, and if it's above 20 degrees, it goes back up into the tank to be cooled again. And they pass here as well to absorb some of the heat from the steam turbines and bring it with them. The heat that they absorb isn't really that much. They take like 4 or 5 degrees, which is nothing for the Aquatuner, which takes 14 off of it. So yeah, I don't really mind. As you can see, this one is cycling the water back up because it's not below 20 degrees, but this one is. And now I have essentially a permanent water supply. I love it so much. That means I won't have issues of water and oxygen for a long time. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. If you didn't know what this does, by the way, these things, you'll see a lot of these from now on. Also here, this is the first one that I built. This is from the same video. Apparently this is essentially a liquid. I finally learned how to make a liquid lock. Essentially, this prevents gas from going through because it's locked by liquids. And these two doors here, this one is locked, and then this one is set on an automation switch. So basically, if there's any sort of gas here, and this one is closed, since there's a liquid lock here, the air here has nowhere to go. And if I close this, if I close this and then open it again, there's not gonna be any gas there anymore. It becomes a vacuum. As you can see, if I hover over it, it says vacuum, because it crushes the air, because again, the air has nowhere to go. And that's how the mechanics in this game work. It's a really nifty thing, and the purpose of it is to prevent heat transfer. The what do you call this? The doors are getting hot because they were opened and closed a bunch of times, letting air through and, you know, letting heat transfer through the air. But as you can see, it's not really getting any hotter anymore. This steam is 168 degrees. Meanwhile, these the crude oil is only 95. This one is 94. Again, that's because I opened it, closed it a bunch with hot steam in there, because I had to, from the initial setup, which was the same in the video, I upgraded it. So my goal for this episode is, one, let me just introduce you to my algae terrarium, my shinebug farm. And I have a simple goal with this. Actually, admittedly, initially, I didn't really think much of it. I just made the farm and just, you know, I just wanted a shinebug farm. I like shinebugs. They're adorable and they produce light, so it's cool. But you can see this tiny setup here. There's nothing connected to it yet. Nothing. And this is essentially, I don't know if it still works, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Apparently there's this little system that people did to essentially trick critters and specifically shinebugs to think that they're not in a cramped space. So basically, as you can see, this is not really a sealed off area, it's just locked by water, but essentially that's not like a door or anything. Essentially they have this entire area that counts as one room. If I go into the room, it doesn't even count as a room. See, the size is 1,200,000 because it covers this area, and since it's only liquid, covers everywhere else. So essentially the goal is to stuff as much shine bugs in one area where they don't move, and since they're not cramped, they're gonna be shining, and you essentially just put a solar panel underneath it to generate power. Well, that's what I'm going to be trying to do. Well, at least that's one of the things I'm going to be trying to do. Actually, I'll start doing that now. Actually, let me start with the automation. First off, we want these things covering the entire room. Do I really have to put it aside? Let me just move this thing instead. We want everything to be automated because, again, it's not like duplicants can reach in there once it's sealed off and drop it in there. So everything has to be automated. It's also good just in general because it obviously minimizes the amount that duplicants have to do and minimizes the amount of error that you have to deal with. Put it like that. And then let's put automation. This is the important part. So gonna have critter sensor 1 and critter sensor 2. And this is to make two different variables because the critter sensors have two functions. They detect how many critters are in a room and they detect how many eggs are in a room. So I found out that essentially I think 4 or 5 is cramped. Yeah, 5 is cramped. So you can see if it says cramped, it says the room will be overcrowded once all nearby eggs hatch. That means there's this one egg here and then 5 critters for a total of 6. So that means the limit is only 5 critters without eggs, so that they don't get overcrowded. So essentially I'm gonna set this to count critters only, and if it detects they're above. The thing is, you can't have an exact number here. It's either above or below a specific number. So let's set it above 4, which is 5 obviously, and then this is count critters, I mean count eggs instead, and if it's above 1, because if there are 4 critters and 1 egg, that equals to 5. If there are 4 critters and 2 eggs, that accounts to 2. I mean 6. Whoa, this accounts to 6 total, and that's overcrowded. So after that, I simply have to put that in an AND gate right here. Let's put it like this. Then we shall wire this to this, this to this, and then these ones. I'm actually not gonna automate the loader because if the thing is, if it has, from what I remember, if the variables say yes, and then the what do you call this? These sweepers put it in the loader and it goes on the track, it shuts off the loader because it's out of the room now and it's below the variables. And I think disabling the loader prevents it from sending it through. I don't remember. I'm just making sure. And besides, it makes the room a bit more, what you call it, even. We're even gonna move this station to cover that up. And it looks like the station is wired up. That's pretty cool. I like that. And all I need to do is hook the rail up. This is a long way though. I'm actually gonna use gold. I have a lot of gold amalgam. So that being said, gold might be used for something else, and iron, I don't really need iron ore specifically. Iron, like I said, I have an iron volcano. I don't know if this still works, but I'm going to try, obviously. Okay, let me just open that up just to make sure that they can get in there. Yeah, because this one becomes unreachable. Yeah, it's unreachable. Oh yeah, I did also make a secondary critter farm for the slicksters here. It's much smaller. It's what I can fit with a pitcher pump in here. But it's fine. So I did this so it, helps with consuming the overabundance of carbon dioxide I have in here. And also because you can see my crude oil has thinned quite a bunch because I've been using it in stuff like this. Actually, speaking of automation, I think I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with my critter sensor thing. This one here, the shrine bug farm, with this thing. Because one thing you need to know about critters in this game is if they're glum, overcrowded, specifically if they're glum, overcrowded just helps with making them glum, but basically it kind of lowers their metabolism, and the issue with that is that they slower metabolism means they'll consume less and they'll produce less. That means they'll eat less of the carbon dioxide if they're unhappy, and they'll produce less of the crude oil since they're not eating as much, obviously. So I think I'll do that with these ones. I just need to find what number of critters is overcrowded and not. Oh, specifically this one. This one's good. If I could stop lagging. That's just the autosave. No, mind that. It's not you, that's me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I guess 5 is the same for everything, huh? Or at least, I guess that's because I make similarly sized rooms, huh? There we go! Oh wait, yeah. This is essentially almost done. I guess the big question is where to send it to. This is... this is the part where the game gets a bit morbid. Because I am aware that there are things called, like kill tanks, where essentially you send eggs that are too much into like a tub of water, where essentially the ah, god, this is horrible. But like, there's no way to like automate the harvesting of critters in this game, so that's what some people do. So I unfortunately think I have to do said thing. The big question is where. Obviously I don't want to put it in like my tub of just straight up, you know, water, because say like something like, what do you call this, the Elixers, they might produce oil and make oil in the middle of my water supply. I don't want that. So somewhere, I'm thinking in this corner maybe. This is really sad and pretty morbid, but you know, it's the game mechanics. I'm just not to like, you know, pat my own self on the back. Like, I'm fascinated that I made this work, because again, this is based off of a build, but I modified it, so I don't know if it would have worked, because the thing that they built was essentially, you know, built specifically to do what it did, and it was made, you know, for that purpose only. And modifying it, especially with when dealing with things like the Aquatuners and the steam turbines, dealing with this much variables in terms of like heat and mass and all of that, one difference could like cause the whole system to either not work, collapse, or even worse, kill your run. So I'm surprised I managed to make a balance here. Essentially what I did here, the thing that I modified is the whole loop is still here. The Aquatuner steam turbine loop still exists, but I made it so that I pumped so much salt water in here that the steam mass is so huge it never runs out, since the loop essentially feeds the steam that it absorbs back. And the thing is, it absorbs steam and converts it into water 100% of the mass of the steam that it consumed. So it goes up and goes down immediately. And you can see here, if I hover over my Atmos sensor, this was supposed to be like an automated system. I wanted it to send the water that it the water that the steam turbine makes. I wanted to send it into the tank again. I still theoretically I still could do that. And these two sensors here are to sense and detect if there's not enough of both anymore in here, so it'll refill it with salt water. But the thing is, I pumped too much and I made the loop instead, and now there's 45 kilograms of steam here. This is the part where I experiment. Yeah, I'm gonna make an offshoot here. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna open this back up. You don't understand. You don't know how many times I've opened and closed this part right here, just because I kept changing something during those cycles that I was building this. This change here will make it so that this turbine specifically will send half of it, I'm assuming half of each water that it does up and one down, because that's how it usually works if you split off pipes like this. Oops, I hit my table. Yeah, look, it goes one up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down. So I think this will be fine. I'll report back in the future if something fucks up. Oh yeah, one other thing is that I want to change is this one. I made this in a hurry. This one here. What I basically did is I just did this with a switch instead of the usual automation system that I had. Thing is, it's not like I can automate it to the tanks, you know? Like, this is a long distance to the tanks. That's a lot of automation wires. Granted, it's only 5 per. I still don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. This is a far distance from This is the this here is the main output. This is the thing I need to connect it to. That's a long, 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 long distance. So I think I'll cut the automation system down to... Whoa, excuse me, a burp came out. I think I'll just stick to an Atmos sensor, so that it's not on 100% of the time and I don't have to manually turn it on and off. This simple, like that. Oh. Then just delete these things. I think that should be fine. Delete that. Oh no, my precious oil. Give me back my oil. Let's see. Above... Oh, well, this is kind of stupid. Actually, that's fine. If we put it at above... Let's see. How many grams? Oh, above... It's really efficient because it's just right above this... the natural gas geyser. Oh my god, how much oil did I put? Oh, it's still on, that's why. Oh my god, I forgot. Oh shit. That's why. Oh, I wasted oil. Gah. I was wondering why. Oh my god, how long was that on? Anyway, current ambient pressure is 96, so I guess above 50? Yeah, that should be good. This thing is efficient because it's directly there. And the thing is, again, this is a natural gas geyser. It only goes up to 150 degrees. And this gas pump overheats at 275. This one at 275 as well. So it's never gonna overheat, I'm assuming. Because everything is at max will be 150 degrees forever. So that should be fine. But the one thing that I've been having issues with is this thing, the gas pump here. Well, I think that's exaggerating. I didn't have issues with it yet. But you can see why this is an issue, because this is 500 degrees. If I put that directly there, it's way over overheat temperature. So I really had to do this long loop around and cooling with this. I don't even know if this is an efficient way. No, I'm gonna make it staggered just because I can. I removed this part here because for some reason it started overheating. I don't know why. And then the Weezworts stopped working because the Weezworts can only handle up to 95 degrees body temperature. So I don't know what happened there. But I don't know, maybe I'll do it again. Maybe I don't know. Try again, it's worth a try, I guess. So that kind of kills the automation. I'll just have those there ready if I need to. Actually, let me just seal that off again. I don't want to deal with that right now. And so far, it's still fine, you know. It's heating up to like 100 degrees plus, but it's still fine. As long as it doesn't get over 200, I'll be good. So it is getting spicy at 150. Oh yeah, look. Since this thing that I put here happened, the steam is going down rapidly, actually. This used to be 40 when I last checked. Now it's 11. The system's still working fine, it seems. Oh, there's a clog. Yeah. Oh, that's the issue. It cut off one of my thermo-aquatuners. Oh yeah, and since on the same topic about the aquatuners, the reason why I built these natural gas generators, these extra ones, they have 800, total of 2,400 extra watts generated is because these turbines aren't enough to not put me in a deficit of power generation, because each of these aquatuners consume 1,200 per, and they're constantly on. They're always on, actually. So I have this total is only about 1,700 watts, I believe so. Yeah, and that's 1.7 versus 2.4. Now granted, this might be overkill, the extra 2, because this one would suffice to add to that, but you know. I have a lot of natural gas now. Again, it's when I built the 3 extra natural gas generators, I realized how little natural gas I have. But now that I have the other guys are hooked up to it, now I have more again. Let's see. This goes all the way down. Built, right? Yeah, it's built. They seem to be not overcrowded yet. I don't think the system is working as it intended. There's how many critters are there? There's 5 critters. I guess we could put this at 0. Oh, and that's not powered. It's just these things aren't powered at all. Oops. Oops, that's me. Hey, let me use lead. I haven't been using lead at all since I got the iron volcano just blasting iron out of its. And for this one, we shall put usually food, meat. Where's food? Oh, edible meat. Yeah, I think that should be good. And I can just change it anyway. So I just need to pump water down here. There we go, there we go. The critter stuff is, I think, all done. Yeah, look at that. I changed the variables. I don't know if it's gonna work better, but you know. I just want to make sure that I don't take up all of the eggs out. Yeah, we got a couple of eggs in there. A lot, actually. 3 and about to be 4. And once they hatch, they'll be in there. And yeah. I don't know if it'll work. Again, this is experimental still. But... oh, look! I just caught it in action. It's a segue. So, the Atmos sensor finally registered that it's less than 10,000 grams. So it sent some salt water and it refills it. So, I completely forgot to explain what the purpose of this was. But essentially, the purpose of this is to double, well, not really double, it's not really a huge amount, but like, it helps with refining the salt water, because aside from my desalinator here, if it sends salt water in here, the salt water evaporates into steam and leaves behind these salt things that you see here, and essentially it becomes steam, it absorbs it and turns it into water. So it helps with, you know, desalinate. Look, more water is getting used. It helps with desalinating the water. And also, it helps cool down this place, because as you can see, this is a toasty, like 150 something degrees. A while ago, it was constantly 160 degrees because of these two. And every time it sends salt water, which is at 90 degrees, it cools it down. Because that's like 50, 60, 70 degrees lower than what the steam is. Well, not just the steam, this entire place. The crude oil, the aquatuner, atmo sensor, everything is at 160 degrees constantly at most. Look at that. And I've kind of achieved the balance here that even messing with it, like splitting this off to give me some of the water that the steam turbine is getting, is working. This is great. Also, why isn't this working? Current ambient pressure. Oh, that's in kilograms now. Oh god. My bad. That's in kilograms. I was... When I first made the system, I thought it was in grams. Alright. Also, let me make this mesh tile so that these things don't stick on the ceiling. It kind of makes it different. What is this, bronze? I mean, copper? I guess it is. But yeah, this is another... this is also another benefit of this natural gas system, is it produces a lot of polluted water, which I can bring into my base. Then eventually it'll be part of my water system as well. Now is the point where I... Well, actually, no. Never mind. I was about to say this is the point where I watch if my water system is gonna overflow. But the main, the main thing I need to watch here is obviously the saltwater system. I mean, granted, it doesn't really produce water as fast as most people would think. It's actually pretty slow. Like right now, there's a lot of water still, but like it's not a lot in like, you know, like the recycling polluted water. But over time, it can. I don't know how much water I'm consuming and how much I'm producing with this thing. But essentially, this might be the reason my water would overflow. But the thing is, I already have that preset with this gate here. It's a simple gate. If the water is not at this level and if I don't turn on the switch, again, I like keeping a switch on things just in case, you know. I like to be sure. But yeah, basically, if these two variables are met and the water is not at this line, that's the important variable here. It turns on the pumps. And these pumps will not turn on if that's not working. And I have another hydro sensor here that prevents the water, that prevents the desalinator from providing water here so that this doesn't overflow. Granted, this is supposed to be sealed, but you know, I like to keep a tab on things. Also, it's so that the water doesn't get too hot, because I had to fill this up to this line first initially, and it was all 90-degree water, and I had to cool it down, and now it ever so slightly trickles water back in whenever it dips. So this will never overflow. The only thing that could make me overflow is if my polluted water gets too much and it recycles too much polluted water, which I could simply, like, you know, preventively do something about now. I mean right now instead of later, is I can just bring this water level I can just bring the water level sensor for my water tank down. This is the simplest as a solution can be, honestly, because then it has this huge, like, leeway before it overflows, and this is going to be the limit for my main water producer, which is the saltwater geyser. And then the recycling of the polluted water has this much free space. So yeah. Oh, okay. Oh boy. Wow. I almost had a catastrophe. I didn't prevent it. I almost had a catastrophe. And that is the fact that I forgot that this thing was on and filling this with water. Actually, I had a catastrophe, never mind. My bad. There's water here, and the water is essentially covering the polluted water from rising up. I mean, polluted gas. There's water here, and it's preventing the polluted gas from rising up and being filtered. So, Rivaldo can clean that, that would be lovely. Thank you. And bread muffin, there's a bit more there, but whatever. Unreachable. I think it's reachable. So yeah, I almost had an issue here. I forgot that the water was on, and the only thing that saved me is the fact that overpressure is a thing in this game. And that the overpressure essentially prevented the water from flowing out of the pipe. But look at that! Isn't that satisfying? It's completely sealed. Look at that. Now we have a kill box. Or we have a kill box for extra critters. Now, is the system in play? I don't know if it'll... Oh, right. I didn't give them the criteria on what they should be doing. Oh, don't want that to be lead. The iron. Oh, it is connected. Oh, I must have just pressed separately and then connect them. But the wire was already built. Anyway, the only thing left to do is... Sorry. I had a sneezing fit in between that and the previous sentence. Basically, all I need to do is put larva eggs here. I feel another sneeze coming up. Oh, there we go. It's working. Now them's not crap. They're just glum. But they just need love and attention. And let's see, where them eggs going? Hey! You're about to hatch and drown. Oh god, that's so morbid. Oh. Oh my. But it's a way to automate the process. Doesn't stop it from being morbid. But you know you gotta do what you gotta do. Also, speaking of morbid, my morb farm. I don't know what I was going with that joke. It's not even related, but it just sounded the same. My morb farm stopped because I forgot I left the door open when I rebuilt this, and they essentially cleaned the outhouse. I rebuilt this so that the travel time is much shorter. Well, not really that much shorter, but you know, still any travel time cut is good because this used to have the entrance on the right side and this was completely sealed off. So they would have to go up, around, down, get back, up, around, and all the way to the orb place here. So I just made it so that it's a slightly shorter trek. And I also made it so that I just can keep the door perpetually closed by giving it enough space to put the critter trap in an open area. Let me just seal off this hydrogen, shall I? Every time the air pressure here gets so low, that just starts to sink down where my duplicants are working. Can they not reach that? Reachable still. Oh. Really? Ah, fine, I'll deconstruct and reconstruct, whatever. Gonna be a quick one anyway. Priority 9, people. Priority 9. Oh yeah. While we're waiting this to be finished, just a quick explanation as to why I have a bunch of rock crushers now. Well, actually, a bunch is overstating. I have 2 rock crushers, and this is because I set them to crush sedimentary rock. This one right here. I have nearly 1,000 tons of it. It's unused because honestly, sedimentary rock isn't really that useful for me. It has the property of being only thermally reactive. So the thing about gold heating up and cooling down faster, I don't really want that. I'd rather have stuff that is like high thermal conductivity. You know, stuff that cools down fast or dissipates heat fast. And I'm doing this so that I can crush them into sand, because here in the top right you can see how much sand I have left. A few videos ago, I think it was about like, actually even in the last video I think I still had like 80 tons, and in the like episode 10 or something I had 200 tons of sand. Now I have 16. So this is my effort in making sand, because sand is quite important for me, for my deodorizers here, and for my water sieves actually, and for my air supply here as well. So, you know, that's just my band-aid solution for now. Anyways, I think that'll be all for this episode. It's actually been quite a while. I'm over an hour-long recording, so I think I'll end it here. And what is this? Oh, some leftover, I guess. Anyway, oh look at them! They're there. They're not cramped. They're not cramped at all. This will be for the next episode. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you. Bye bye.